Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the backdoors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Hello there, everybody. This is Jay, back for another episode of Sci-Fi, the GSMC Sci-Fi Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. We've been off for, I think, about a week or two, so let's just jump right in. So, there's something that Marvel fans have been waiting for, at least a couple of weeks, if not maybe a couple of months. And it's been teased that we're going to get a trailer to a certain film for a couple of weeks. I know I've seen on Facebook, you're getting it this week. You're going to get it on Monday. It's coming soon. You're going to get it. It's a big deal. It's going to be really awesome. And we weren't getting it. It has to, be that, maybe one of the final chapters of the MCU, or at least the MCU is going to change afterwards. So I am talking about the Avengers 4 trailer, which we finally got towards the end of this week. Marvel and hand Disney has been really secretive about this trailer, about this film. There's been rumors of the name, there's been rumors of what's going to happen, but it's all been rumors. And so seeing this trailer, we finally got to, see a bit about this film, and more so, what the name of the film is actually gonna be. So this trailer has really just a kind of like a more, not necessarily a morbid, but a sad tone throughout. But for those like me who have seen Avengers Infinity War, it actually makes sense. The tone of the trailer makes really good sense. It's dark, it's kind of dismal in some respects. The Avengers are in shambles. They're not sure what to do next. They're like, we get to see a little bit of Thanos here with the gauntlet and with his armor, but mostly, it starts off with Tony Stark in space, leaving a message for Pepper. We get to see parts of this trailer where, Black Widow and Steve Rogers, Captain America, and we get to see Falcon a little bit, but you can really tell just the Avengers are kind of in shambles. What are we going to do now? What's our choices now? Things seem kind of bleak. That's kind of the word I want to use for this, and it makes sense, because what Thanos did, it's pretty messed up. It did a lot of damage to the universe and the world and the Avengers, and they're kind of still reeling from this battle that many of them barely survived and many of them did not survive. Even though this movie has been in theaters, it's on Blu-ray and 4K now. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say who dies, but let's just say it was pretty shocking. I know when I saw this movie, I was it kind of was soul crushing because of how much death and destruction happened from pretty much beginning right to the finale. We get to see Thor here a little bit. He's kind of in shambles. We actually get to see Hawkeye in this trailer. It looks like he has changed in this time, and I don't know if it's actually a time travel movie or if it's I think that's I've heard that's gonna be an element of this film. But this is kind of the first trailer, so we get to see a bit of the Avengers are left are trying to set a plan in motion to try to stop Thanos once and for all. We don't see, one character in this, which is kind of interesting, but, Yeah, it's a really good trailer. I've watched it a couple of times. It ends with somehow Ant-Man got out of the microverse, which I am sorry if that's a spoiler, but that was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And yeah, it really just has that, like, the feel that I think fans expect for this trailer, because it just, after the last film, it's like, the MCU, the Avengers have taken a really big hit, and it was probably one of the biggest battles they've ever been a part of. And it seems like they're like, man, what do we do now? How do we recover from this? Can we recover from this? It's kind of hard to say, because things look pretty bleak. There's a part where we see Steve Rogers and Black Widow are trying to set up some kind of plan in motion. It doesn't sound like it's maybe the best plan in the world, but it's the only one he's got at this point. So there's that going on. And it ends with Ant-Man, showing up. And I think it's kind of like, so that's really about the trailer in a nutshell. There's more to it than that, but if you do want to see the entirety of it, is on YouTube. I'll let you know it's been viewed a lot in like 24 hours. I think it's one of the most viewed trailers on YouTube now. So, and Marvel's done that a couple of times, so this isn't the first time they've done that, but it's, so that's happened. And, this film, just like, this is a really good trailer. I really do like it. I really enjoy it. And it does a very good job of getting you pumped for this film, which I don't think I'll say this is going to be the final film for the MCU. I don't think so. I think that's a little kind of far-fetched, but I do think it's safe to say whatever happens in this film, the MCU is not going to be the same. And I think that's a fair thing to say, and it's a fair, prediction to make, because it just seems realistic. It really does. So this was a really, really big... Oh, yes, and of course the name of the film is Avengers Endgame, which this is sort of a spoiler, but again, with the film being out for a while, I am going to say it. The Russo brothers have been teasing that, hey, you had heard this, the name of the movie before, and there was rumors of the name, like Annihilation, but... Doctor Strange says in one of the scenes of Infinity War that, we're at the Endgame. So, Avengers Endgame is the name of this movie. And yes, I would highly recommend this, checking out this trailer. This film comes out April next year, which will actually be here before we know it. And I think it's going to be a really good film. I hope it's less soul-crushing than the last film, but who knows? With where the MCU is right now, it could be worse. It's fair to say we will probably see some... let's put it this way. I hope we see some characters in this film that just weren't in the last film. That'd be kind of cool to see, because there were some, Marvel characters just didn't show up, so it'd be kind of cool to see them show up. Because one thing that's very clear after what happened in Infinity War is that... the Avengers are going to need help. They really are. The more help they can get, the better. That's just the truth, because if they want to, either rebuild the Earth or save the Earth or, do whatever they're going to do to, kind of like, get back up from, the really painful loss of the last film, they're going to have to do something. That's just a fact. That really is. I think it truly is. And, this is just, I think, going to be a really, really good film. I have a good feeling about this movie. And like I said, if you haven't checked out the trailer, I would highly recommend checking out the trailer. Like I said, it's on YouTube right now. And I'm sure that as we get closer to the release date, we'll probably get another trailer too and see more of this film. But one thing Marvel's done a really good job of lately is just, kind of building a hype for their films. So I think they've done a really great job. And like I said, this film is no exception. So, this is available on YouTube now. It's an amazing film trailer. I think one of the better trailers I've seen in a while. And I'm really excited to see, more about this film and to see this film when it comes out. And in April may seem a long time away, but true story is it'll be here before we know it. That's just the way it is, and right now, of course, there's plenty of speculation what's going to happen, who's going to do this and that, and really at this point, that's all it is. It's just speculation. We're not going to know more until, we see more. This is the way it is. Whenever, Marvel and Disney choose to do that. So we're going to take a short little break right now, and we'll be back in a few moments with more sci-fi news. Well, it is that time of year when, people usually think about thoughtful gifts like, what can I get for my, friends or family or loved ones? Well, one thing that you could think about doing at this moment is maybe giving yourself the gift of an Audible membership. I mean, it now is like the best time to do it because there is a really cool special offer right now. So, you're able to access an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, motivational books, mysteries, thrillers, memoirs, and really just so much more. You're free to choose 3 titles every month. You can do 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals, which are, things you really aren't able to hear anywhere else. So that's really, really cool. You can listen on any device like, cell phones, tablets, laptops, desktops, anywhere, when you're working out at the gym, if you're on your commute, on the way somewhere, or just, really on the go. So you'll also enjoy easy audiobook exchanges, rollover credits, and an audiobook library, which you do get to keep forever. Even if you do one day choose, I don't want to really, be a member of Audible anymore. So right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. Really, really good deal if you ask me, especially with all the books that are available on there in so many different, quantities. That's more than half off the regular price. Give yourself the gift of listening. And while you're at it, think about giving the gift of Audible to someone on your list. For more information, go to audible.com/GSMC SciFi or text GSMC Sci-Fi to 500-500. So one book that is really interesting and just went on there recently, I believe, is Stan Lee, the man behind Marvel. So this is basically I believe it's like a biography of sorts. It talks about his early life as his life went on, and really just tells the whole story, of him and Marvel and their relationship. And it's in a really amazing book. It's got so much in there. It's narrated by Kevin T. Collins. And yeah, sadly, Stan Lee did leave us recently. Someone I got to meet once, really nice guy. But yeah, that's a book I'd highly recommend. And it's just an amazing story about really an amazing living legend. So yeah, be sure to check that out, and tell your friends and family and loved ones all about it. Hello everybody, this is Jay, back for more sci-fi news. So, there was a movie that came out a few years ago that was kind of a film that I didn't know what I thought about it at first, called Ralph, Wreck-It Ralph was what it was called, sorry. And, it's about like this character who's a villain, in this game for 30 years, and he's tired of being a villain. It takes place in an arcade. And I want to say, I actually don't know, it's modern times. And, it was a film that I really loved as a gamer. There are a lot of really cool gamer elements there. John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman were wonderful in it. The whole cast was really, in a nutshell, wonderful. And it was a film that did really, really well. It made a lot of money. People, I think, of most age groups really enjoyed it. And so when I heard the news that, hey, they're going to do a sequel to it, I couldn't wait. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. That's so wonderful. I absolutely loved this movie, and I just cannot wait to get to see more. I really can't. So, yeah, when I heard they're doing a sequel, I wasn't shocked, but I was excited, right? And yet, it took a while to hear anything about this movie. We didn't actually get to see anything about this movie until it was July of 2017. They showed a little clip of Vanellope Sweets and the Princesses, one of the most amazing scenes in this, sequel, by the way. And that was all we got to see, but we got to see like that we got the release date and, and all that. And since then, I'm like, man, I really can't wait to get to see this movie. And a few weeks ago, I finally got to see it, where in this movie, in this sequel, it still takes place in Litwick's arcade, but what happens this time is, Ralph and Vanellope go to the internet. There's a good reason for them going to the internet, by the way. Vanellope Sweets, basically in a nutshell, is just kind of getting tired of Sugar Rush. She doesn't hate Sugar Rush. She doesn't, but she's getting a little tired of it. She's like, I've been in this game for a while now. I know all the races. Like, I could do it with my eyes closed, and she's just kind of getting bored with it. So Ralph decides, hey, I'll make you a new track to try to keep entertained, because they're best friends, they hang out all the time, and, he really enjoys his new life with her, right? And what ends up happening is the steering wheel to her game breaks. So she's, in a place now, she's like, well, without my game now, because, of course, Sugar Rush gets unplugged, right? And the reason that Ralph and Vanellope go to the internet is because they want to get a new steering wheel for her. Ralph really wants to help her, he's like, hey, it's my best friend and I want to help her out. And this movie has nonstop jokes about the internet. There's a lot of really good Disney jokes in there. There's a part where they go to Oh My Disney, and it's just, I think, one of the best scenes in the movie. It really is. Disney pokes fun at itself a lot. There's a really cool scene there where it's like Ask Groot and it's little baby Groot, which is really, really cool. This movie, really in a nutshell, this movie, it's a good sequel. I can't say it's the best sequel I've ever seen. I can't say that it's like, the best movie I've ever seen. The plot isn't really as strong as the first film, but it's still a good film. I still enjoyed it. I can't really say in any way, shape, or form that this was a really disappointing film or that I, was bummed out about this film. I just can't really say that, So, this film reminds me a lot of Incredibles 2 in the sense that Incredibles 2, it's a good sequel. They did a good job. I mean, it's a good movie, I liked that movie, but I just think what happened with that movie and with Ralph Breaks the Internet is that Wreck-It Ralph and The Incredibles were both kind of so high up there with how brand new they were and original and amazing and clever that it was kind of hard to reach that same place again. I think it's that kind of what happens with this film. I really do. The villain isn't definitely not as strong as the first one, and not as well known or pronounced either. Is this the truth? Although the name of the movie does fit. As you watch the film, you'll see what I mean. It's really cool that they had, like I brought up before, there's a scene where Vanellope breaks into the princess's dressing room at Oh My Disney. All the Disney princess voices that are still alive came in to voice all their characters again, which was really, really awesome. There's a lot of really funny jokes there. The princesses themselves are actually really good in this movie. They really are. There's more than one scene with them, and they do a really good job in this movie, make it a lot of fun and exciting, and kind of some cool unexpected jokes happen along the way there that are really, really fun and really, really funny. The animation is absolutely amazing. Gal Gadot is actually in this, Wonder Woman, as a character in Slaughter Race, which was really cool. They got her in this, and her character was really, really good. And like, it's just, it's a film that I enjoyed. I did, I enjoyed every minute of it. I thought it was wonderful. The characters are really great. This next chapter in the story was really, really good. It wasn't always obvious what was going to happen. Sometimes it was, but not too much, honestly. And you kind of get to see, Ralph and Vanellope's friendship kind of takes a different turn. It's just what happens, and it's something that, like, Ralph kind of has to, grow to just understand. There's also a really interesting scene here where Fix-It Felix and his wife, take in some of the kids from Sugar Rush, and the kid race and things kind of go crazy at first, but there's some funny jokes there too as the film moves along. There just is. So this is a film that I think kids will enjoy. Fans of the first film, I think, will enjoy it. I wouldn't say you have to be a gamer to enjoy this film, because like I said, there are a lot of internet jokes here too, and a lot of Disney jokes, so it isn't just like, mostly video games like it was more in the first film. And I would recommend it. I would give it probably an 8 out of 10. It's a good film. It is. It's a good film. It's a good sequel. I'd gladly watch it again, But it just wasn't at the level of the first one, because the first one was something that hadn't really been done before. Hey, it's a bad guy in an arcade who wants to be a good guy. That's not really what's going on in this one. It's just not. It kind of focuses more on Vanellope than Ralph, although Ralph is an important part. And of course, Taraji P. Henson as Yes is really good. She does a good job with that character. We have Alan Tudyk in here again. He's Knowsmore this time. So he's in this, which is really kind of cool. So there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. There is. I mean, I would recommend seeing it. I would say that, you'll enjoy it. It's a good film to take the family to see. I wouldn't say you have to see the first film to see it, but at the same time, I don't think it would probably hurt. It probably wouldn't, Just a recommendation, though. I mean, I wouldn't say you have to. If you don't see it, it's not going to be the end of the world, because I think you'll understand what's going on with this one. It's, I want to say a little under 2 hours, so it doesn't really drag on too long, which is nice. And yeah, it was a good film overall. Overall, I left going, hey, you know what? Good job, Disney. You did a good sequel. But it kind of falls in one of those traps with some of their sequels, where it's kind of hard when you do such a good first film to keep that momentum going with a second film or a third film. And I won't say they shouldn't or couldn't do a third Ralph film, but I don't know if they necessarily need to. With how this film ends, I'm like, you could. It's not impossible to do it. No, it's totally not impossible to do it, but it's kind of in that situation, at least with me, where you could, but you don't really have to at the same time. It's just the truth. You don't really have to. It's if you do it, okay, I'm not going to go, no, don't do that, like Toy Story 4. I have no problem with Toy Story 4, but, it's something that you could do if you really wanted to. But I would suggest, if you do, just take your time. Take your time like you did with Ralph Breaks the Internet, and, like they are with Toy Story 4. Just take your time. There's no gargantuan rush to just churn out a next Ralph movie, another Wreck-It Ralph movie. There's no need to do that. They still technically could do it, because they haven't really gotten into consoles yet. And, that's a possibility. They could do that. I mean, it's not an impossibility. So, yeah, it was overall a good film. Not as good as the first film, but I did enjoy it. I had fun watching it. And, I think that it'll overall do pretty well. So, it is that time of year when people usually think about thoughtful gifts, for their friends, for their families, for their loved ones. So, it might be a good idea to think about giving yourself the gift of an Audible membership. Now is the best time to do it with a special offer. You're able to access an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, motivational books, mysteries, thrillers, memoirs, and just so much more. They have a really good sized library when it comes to, these, all the different books they have available. You can listen to them on any device, anytime, anywhere, at home, on your commute, at the gym, or just, on the go, wherever you're going. You also enjoy easy audiobook exchanges, rollover credits, and an audiobook library you can keep forever, even if one day you do choose to cancel your membership with Audible. Right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months Audible for just $6.95 a month. That's more than half off the regular price. I would suggest right now one really good book to listen to that is on Audible, by the way, is Ready Player One. It's on there. Will Wheaton, is the one who narrates it. I've read the book. It's an absolutely amazing book. I'd highly recommend it. And what I've heard of it so far, Will Wheaton does just a wonderful job, reading the book. He really does. I would highly, highly recommend that story. So give yourself the gift of listening. And while you're at it, think about giving the gift of Audible to someone on your list. For more, go to audible.com/GSMC SciFi. Or text GSMC Sci-Fi to 500 500. Hello there, everybody. This is Jay, back with some more sci-fi news. So, one show that I'm talking about on here a bit lately is Ducktales. You know, the new season has, the clan of McDuck. Just coming together. It's Donald, it's Huey, Dewey, Louie, Webby, Mrs. Beakley. Of course, Scrooge McDuck is there, and they're all just going on adventures together. It's more of a family-focused show than it was with the one from the 80s, but so far it's a really good show. I've watched every episode so far. It's about midway through season 2 right now, and so far it's a show I really enjoy. I think it's really cool what they're doing. It's definitely telling a lot of different stories that they haven't told before. It is introducing some new characters that I don't believe we ever saw in the 80s show. And it just kind of adds a new, fun, exciting twist to the series that, it keeps the core of the original show, but it's definitely got some cool differences there too. It really does. So, about a couple weeks ago, the next episode aired called Storkules in Duckburg. So, what happens on this episode is it starts off with Louie wants to start his own company. He's really excited to become, really rich like Scrooge, Uncle Scrooge, and he gives Uncle Scrooge a little presentation on how to, what his company's about. But of course, Scrooge says, what did your company actually do? And he's like, just invest. That's all Louie basically says. So, in a nutshell, he doesn't really have much of a company. And surprise, surprise, Uncle Scrooge is not going to invest in it. He's just not going to do that. So what happens is Storkules ends up... first of all, let's backtrack a second. So Donald Duck is looking for a roommate for his little houseboat that is in the pool at McDuck Manor. And he's all excited because he thinks, okay, I finally found a roommate, so let me clean up and get everything ready. But it turns out his roommate is an old friend, Storkules, which Donald is not too excited about. Supposedly Storkules has been kicked off of, where he lived, I want to say is Ithaquack, and told to be an adult. So he thinks, hey, if I live with Donald, I'll learn how to be an adult, right? Sounds like a great idea, thumbs up. And somehow these weird creatures start showing up in Duckburg. And Louie sees this as an opportunity to maybe start to get his business off the ground with them exterminating, or catching and, getting rid of these creatures. That's what he is doing. So it helps Louie Inc., as he calls it, start to get off the ground. And he's very excited for this, of course. And meanwhile, we have where Donald is trying to, make things work with Storkules, but Storkules, it just isn't going the way he hopes it would. And it's an episode that really we get to see Storkules again, which is really cool. We get to learn a little bit more about him and what's going on and where he's at now, how he's trying to grow as a character. And it's also a Louie centric episode, and it's kind of cool to see Louie try something, but it doesn't always go according to plan. But he makes a few bad decisions along the way, which are kind of funny, kind of expected. And I really liked this episode. I thought it was a really fun episode. It was kind of cool how different things went along. There was a few little interesting surprises toward the end, which were kind of cool. And it was just nice to see, Storkules again, because I liked him when he showed up on the last season. I thought he was a great character. He really was. And it was, it had a bunch of funny moments. It had some good action-centric moments. And toward the end, Scrooge realizes, there might be some potential for something here which is really kind of cool. So, it was a fun episode. I enjoyed it. It was, enjoyable. It was. And, at the end, Donald is like, okay, you need to go get your own place now, So he's not, he has moments in the episode where he almost wonders if he should just kick Storkules to the curb because he's kind of more of a pain than he means to be, and he's definitely a bit more of a pain in the side to Donald than he wishes he was. But as the episode is going along, he realizes, hey, you know what, you are my friend, I am your friend, just just try to dial it back here or there, and There's moments in the episode where Louis thinks it is, business is going off the ground and he's making a lot of money, but like I said, he makes some bad decisions along the way that aren't, as smart as they should be. He takes Webby and I want to say Dewey along for the ride, and there's moments where they're glad to help him out, but towards the end they're like, they're not getting paid, and it's kind of becoming more of a, difficult than it should be, as far as they see it anyway. It's just the way they see it. So it's a good episode. It's a fun episode. Like I said, the ending is kind of cool how it works out, and it kind of works out in Scrooge's favor, which is pretty cool if you ask me. I think so. And it's just overall, it's a good episode. I won't say it's one of the strongest episodes of the season, but it's a fun episode. It is. It really is, in a nutshell, And I don't know if it really plays too much into where this season's going to go next, but yeah, if you've enjoyed the previous episodes of DuckTales, I think you'll enjoy this one. I do. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you have fun watching it. You'll find it to be a good time. So I would think that it'd be good to check it out. Definitely. It's on Disney Channel now, so you can watch it there. And I would just highly recommend checking it out. And if you haven't watched the previous episodes, of course, take the time to catch up on those first. It's not a have to or like a must, but I'd say it's a good idea to do that. So, other than that, that's all the sci-fi news we have for you for this episode. I hope you had a lot of fun listening to it, as much fun as I did bringing it to you. And have yourself a wonderful rest of the day, and talk to you all again real soon with more sci-fi news.